Hello and welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. And behind me you see the great still house of Glendronach. Yeah, if you look around, beautiful sight, but the weather is a bit Scottish. Yeah, Glendronach is a pretty old distillery. It was founded in 1826 by James Allardyce. It was sold a couple of times to Teachers Grant, and unfortunately it was closed in 1996, but reopened in 2002. So we have 6 years of not production. That is a bit difficult for the older bottlings today, but it will eventually grow itself out. It was sold to Glendronach in the recent future and recent past, and then we have it sold to Brown-Forman very recently, I think in 2016. Yeah, but Brown-Forman, a big company, very experienced with spirits from America, and they encourage their distilleries to work together so they can learn a lot from each other. They can purchase very good ingredients, wood, malts, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Glendronach is really in good hands and safe hands. So that's what we want for this distillery in the future. Yeah. So much about the company. Let's focus a bit more on the production. And first of all, we have the ingredients, and down there is one of the most important ingredients. It's the water. This is the Dronach burn, and it flows right below the Glendronach distillery. Then on the other side, we see the other water source. This is the Dronach burn is used for cooling, and below that hill is the Belgium reservoir which gets water from different water sources and has a very clear, good, pure water, and is tapped below the ground. And the Belgium is actually used for their whiskey, for their mashing, and then ends up in the spirit later. Yeah, so this here is the malt house, and let's go inside the malt house and find out what the other ingredients and how the production is run at Glendronach. Back in until 1996, the distillery used to have malting floors and produced their own malt from the barley they bought from farmers. But after the discontinuation in 96, the reopen in 2002, the malting floors were not opened, but actually the malt comes now from outside. But they still look out that they only get malt from Scotland. And also they really check the quality of the malt and look out for not peated malt, as Glendronach is known for their unpeated whiskey. This here then is the malt mill. It's a Robert Bobby Ltd roller malt mill, and it is highly patternized, as you see over there. And this pattern actually tells you how this is an explosion-proof malt mill, where you always have the explosion preventer after each milling stage. And it was really a high-tech piece back in the day, but now it's really an old-timer. But it still runs well. It produces 3.67 tons of grist every 6 hours, and does that for 22 times a week. So it's still an old timer that's running really well. And this is where the grist ends up, in this big mash tun. The mash tun is really traditional. If you look down, it's an old cast iron mash tun, and it got a top copper lid, so to conserve the hot temperatures inside the mash tun. And what is really special is that it is an old traditional mash tun. So we don't have a lauter tun, not even semi-lauter tun. So we have the grist and the water being put together by a masher and then being fed into the tub with a huge stream. Whereas in a lauter tun, you would sprinkle on the water. So this is not done here. This is done the old traditional way. And when it's inside, there's a rake turning it so all the grist is touching all the water, so the sugar and the starch is dissolved into the water. The temperatures of the different stages are 64 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Celsius, and 94 degrees Celsius. And the last water is being recycled in the first run. The 86 degrees Celsius is pretty high, and this is where, at that stage, where you get more of the different products out of the grist, and this then forms more into a intense character, a bit of a spicy character, a bit more oomph to the brand here at Glendronach. I'm here in the rooms with the wash bag. Yeah, we have 9 wash bags, and they have a capacity of 18,000 liters. They're all wooden, made from Scottish larch or Oregon pine, and that is because the distillery looks at a bit more of a spicy character. We do have a lot of the fruity esters, and the distillery likes that, but they really look at getting a bit more kick, a bit more intensity, oomph into that, into that wash. They do that with the wood and also with the long fermentation duration of 60 hours. That's the minimum. And they go even up to 66 hours, 72 hours. And you can see that all these numbers are divisible by 6, and that's kind of the heartbeat of the distillery. Everything is divided into 6-hour pieces. Yeah, so in the end of that fermentation process, we're looking at a wash, what they call their beer, at around 7.5% to 8% alcohol. So that's what ends up in the distillation room. So I'm standing here in the distillation room. We have the 4 beautiful stills all in a row. And if you look behind me, there is a big window where you can watch the yard and the warehouses. So it's really a very, very beautiful spot. Let's talk a bit more about the stills. The wash still is filled up to 9,000 liters, spirit still is filled up to 5,500 liters, and now we find out why they have a heartbeat of 6 hours. Because every stilling process takes 6 hours. This is quite long for a wash still process, and also a bit longer for the spirit still process. So the wash still pretty long and has a reflux bowl, and also the long distillation time gives you a good separation of alcohol and more contact with copper, so there's more catalytic reactions that reduce the unwanted flavors and produce better flavors. Spirit still is pretty similar, but the line arm is falling in both of the stills, so everything that's condensing at the very top is flowing into the condenser and therefore in the spirit tank and ends up in the whiskey. So we don't have that much reflux from the line arm, so that means that some of the spicier, heavier, more intense flavors also end up in the whiskey, and that's what Glendronach's looking for, that balance between fruitiness, sweetness, softness, and also that spiciness, intensity, and oomph inside the whiskey. So it's a pretty balanced distillation process that can be used for a really nice, complex whiskey. Also, there's the spirit safe at the front. We do have a computer for monitoring everything, but the spirit safe is really there for the adjusting. They can measure the alcohols, the cutting points with these tubes. They fill it up, and there's an alcohol meter in that flowing to show you where everything is, where we're at the distillation now, at what point. And then there is a lever that turns the alcohol to the foreshots or the feints. So this is very traditional and manual. And now let's continue to the warehouses. This here is one of the dunnage warehouses. Dunnage warehouses are usually racked 3 high, and if you look around, they're not quite full. So this is one of their half-empty warehouses. And as you also look around, you see, there's a big amount of sherry casks here. And this is about 85%. And as it is an American company, they calculate as if they would actually store this in ASBs, in American Standard barrels. And if you would fill everything into American Standard barrels, you would have 73,000 barrels on site. Quite a lot. As they are in bigger casks, they have a lower number of casks on site, but bigger casks. This equates to 7.5 million liters of pure alcohol, and if you'd calculate that in whiskey, you'd have about 11 million liters of whiskey on site, depending if you drink your whiskey in cask strength or if you drink it in regular drinking strength. The 85% sherry casks are really important, so that's why they have very good ties to the sherry makers in Spain. They have to fly down there regularly, maintain their relationships, and always purchase the good wood for the whiskey making. Also important is what kind of sherry was in these casks beforehand. Where other distilleries use a lot of Oloroso, the distillery at Glendronach has a lot of PX sherry casks. They do have Oloroso, but they're focusing on the PX. And the PX is the sweet sherry. This one really sweet sherry that when you drink, you almost think you're drinking a liqueur with sugar added. And this gives the whiskey a really nice, fruity, sweet touch to it. And that's what the Glendronach distillery is looking for in most of their bottlings. That sweet, fruity, sherry touch. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the interview where I can try a few of their bottlings. So stay tuned and let's see how we find the whiskies. So I'm sitting here with Alan McConaughey at Glendronach. You're 10 years now with Glendronach and you have 45 years of experience. So thank you very much for having us here at the distillery.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, so nice distillery you have here. It's just a gem with that huge glass window. I really do like it. So I've read the news, actually reported the news I think as well. You got Keeper of the Quaich. So how did that work out? Why and what's happening at the Keepers?
The Keeper of the Quaich is it's a very traditional part of the industry, and they, thankfully for me, like to reward and acknowledge experience and previous works within the industry. So as you say, I've been involved in the industry for 45 years. I started my career at Whitehorse Bottling Plant in Glasgow in 1973 and started working in distilleries, actual distilleries, in 1984. So I've travelled really around Scotland and the UK since then.
Okay, so now they're honouring for kind of your life work.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice.
Hopefully not at all, but to date, yeah.
Okay, so what are we having today?
Okay, the first whiskey we're going to look at is certainly the most popular that we sell. This is a Glendronach 12 years old, original, and
nice.
A lovely dram, 12 years old, not too old, just really nice to be on its own. It's a lovely, almost amber gold colour. And you can see that in the light. It's a really distinctive bottle, 12 years old. We use no colouring. We use only the only colour in the bottle is the whiskey that comes from the cask. And in this instance, we use both Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso sherry casks to achieve the colours and flavours that we're going to look at.
Oh, I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited for the PX influence.
Yes, it's still relatively unusual in the industry. Oloroso would be the main choice of cask. We like to use the two just to give us slightly different characters and effective flavours, even just a little.
The PX, is that hard to get?
No, we use and we source the PX cask. We go to Spain direct. We don't use a third party. We deal with a sherry house almost totally the same sherry house in Jerez in Spain. And that way we are confident in the quality and the amount of casks that we can access. But you see this one, it's, we see in the industry it has long legs, it's a very nice long finish, so lovely colour, real dark gold, amber gold we say. I always tell people you shouldn't drink with your eyes, but you can't help it.
You can't help
But
it.
a lovely nose also. Very sweet, fruity nose, spicy character also.
Oh yeah, there's a bit of a. It's definitely the dried fruits. Definitely a raisin cake in there.
Very much so. It's like we in the UK we say a Christmas cake. It's lots of winter fruits and so forth in the dram.
But what is that spiciness? It's a bit of a nutmeg or cinnamon.
Nutmeg's a good choice. Maybe for me some ginger.
Ginger, yeah.
Light spicy character.
But it's like almost like ginger baked into something. Oh.
There's as the nose rises, there's almost a vanilla character as well, almost reminiscent of a creamy character in there.
Yeah, but it's in the background. You do get the
it's
dried fruit and the raisins, ginger, and then in the background you have that nice vanilla deep tone. Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
It's a very nice dram, yeah.
Okay, Flanger.
Slash. It's a very easy dram. It's a big sherry influence in Glendronach. Always has been, always will be, but it's not overpowering. You know this is a whiskey you're trying. It's a whiskey that's influenced by the sherry that's been contained in both the Pedro Jimenez and the Oloroso casks.
Oh, when you swallow it.
Well, even though it's only 12 years old, and remember in Scotch, 12 years is not old. It's 12 years. It's still a long finish, and it fills the mouth.
Wow, it's incredible. It's really light and sweet when you have it in your mouth, and then you swallow it, and you get these spices, ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon.
It's very complex.
A little bit of peppery notes, even.
Again, spicy character. Yeah, it's winter fruits. It's autumn fruits. I don't know if you have the same fruit in Germany. We say a bramble.
Bramble. I've heard about the bramble.
Bramble. So this area we would associate with bramble growing and so forth, and it's like a real dark fruit, almost like a black currant. And that's a real strong character in here.
Nice. Really. I like it. I had the 95, a few drams of it. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, this is obviously a lot younger, but we are very proud of this one, very pleased with it. We feel it sits well in Glendronach, in the range that we have. It's a really nice introduction, and has all the Glendronach characters we would hope to find.
Really. A nice dram. So the 15-year-old has been in the news for, it's back. You have the revival back. We love that. Was that because of the closure of the distillery in '96?
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Distillery was closed from 1996 to 2002. And just bad timing.
But you can't sell what you can't have.
You can, and yes, and that is a well-known saying in the industry. But it's back. We're delighted with what we have.
So now that it's more than 15 years, but not 16 years in the past, will we have the same problem with the 18 then?
Hopefully not. The 15-year-old is by age and price is a much bigger seller than the 18 years old. The 18 years old is it's a combination of older whiskies at the moment, which is good for you, and maybe less so for us. But what we hope to do is when the whiskey reverts back to 18 years old, we still hope to have the same big sherry influence and characters that you're seeing at the moment. It's 18 years old, one of my favourites, the 18 years old. It says everything to me about Glendronach. And I wouldn't like to see it going off the market like the 15-year-old.
Yeah.
But the 15-year-old's back. We're delighted. We're delighted how it tastes and looks. And I always say you shouldn't look at the whiskey, but we're delighted how it works. Again, we use a combination of Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez sherry casks to achieve the flavours, characters, and colours that we like.
Oh yeah. Not chill filtered, natural colour.
Non-chill filtered, natural colour. And if you speak to me for 2 hours, I will mention that very often. But, it's something we're very careful of, something we're very proud of. We don't add anything to our whiskey, we don't take anything out. And we feel that's very important to maintain the Glendronach character and flavour.
So is it similar to the 12-year-old, or is it only 3 years, or do we have some more Oloroso or more PX influence?
I think it's important for me. I'll just pour this. I can see you longing to taste it. For me, it's important that the 15-year-old isn't just an older version of the 12-year-old. The 18-year-old isn't just they have their own characters, their own identities, slightly different colour to the whiskey, the 12-year-old, as you can see, but darker and so forth, which would indicate maybe a slightly higher percentage of Oloroso. A real strong fruity character, strong sherry influence, but also has the spice that you would expect. And when we get to this age, we're talking about dark chocolate. And real winter flavours. So the only thing we're missing is a log fire, and really that would be the perfect accompaniment.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a drum when it's snowy outside and.
Very good for Scotland.
Yeah,
it's very good whiskey to drink in Scotland. Usually it's raining or snowing.
When it's rainy outside. Yeah, today the weather's not that nice, but it's holding up.
I mean, this is now it's 46% alcohol as against the 43 of the 12-year-old. So even though it's that little bit stronger, the nose is easy to nose. So sometimes if you're nosing whiskey, you really need a little water to open the flavours up. But I feel this achieves it. It's relatively smooth and easy on the nose.
It's similar, but a bit.
It's more intense.
Intense, but also a little bit fresher, like apricots and not that dried plums, but
apricots is a very good that's a very good phrase. That's a fruit that we associate with some of our Glendronachs, and certainly the 15-year-old, I would say that's a good choice of fruits.
Yeah, apricot. But there's also, again, if you go deeper in with your nose, then you realize the spices, nutmeg, ginger.
There's also, for me, there's a strong citrus, maybe not quite orange, but a strong citrus character in there also in the nose.
Yeah, combines with the freshness.
So,
you realize with the freshness, and when you think about it, then you realize, orange.
It's really nice. Yeah, we're really pleased with the 15-year-old, and Rachel, our master blender, been working hard to make sure. I mean, when we make whiskey, we don't always want to make it better.
Okay.
We want to make it the same. We want it to be similar to what we have. People like to know what they're buying and drinking, so I had to work very hard to achieve that, and I feel we've done a really good job on that one. I can't wait to taste this.
Oh yeah.
I don't always drink whiskey at lunchtime, but this is just for you.
Splendid.
Real dark chocolate. We have a sweet in the UK. It's called a chocolate orange, and this is why I'm this size. So the chocolate orange character is really for me, and the the older our whiskies become, the more of that character I like to find. Spicy, very spicy character.
Oh, yeah, definitely dark chocolate, orange. When you swallow it, then you have a bit of spiciness, a little bit of tingling in there. But it's strange. You have 3% more alcohol, but it's definitely more round.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to
That's
say
age.
it.
I mean,
It's more liquid. When you have it in your mouth, you feel it's more.
Yeah.
It's more squishy going around. Oh, it's soft and velvety.
I know exactly what you mean, and that's a very good. I'll remember that. That's a very good, more liquidy. That's a good phrase. with the younger whiskies, maybe a bit. Maybe disappears a bit more quickly. Okay, younger character. The older whiskey becomes, the longer it's with you. And again, we say the legs in the glass. You know, long legs. We like to see a nice oily character in there as well. And a real, it's zest, citrus. I say citrus. Citrus character on the tongue, and a nice long finish as well.
For the citrus character, usually it's going more lemon. This is definitely more.
It's more of an
orange.
Yeah, very much.
Maybe juice orange, like it's really juicy and zesty. Definitely zesty.
Very much so, and we look for that deliberately. The strong sherry influence is all in here, and again the combination of the Pedro Jimenez and the Oloroso for the 12-year-old and the 15-year-old, I feel they work well together, and they're not battling with each other; they're complementing each other, and it's an aspect of the whiskies we're really proud of.
Oh yeah, that's really. I love that. I love that.
It really is. It's, we're really glad to have it back, and it's proven very popular. And
I really like what you put in the effort into the wood and the casks here. You can really smell and taste that.
Well, listen, we are an industry with a fantastic product. I mean, the whole industry, and it makes no sense to take all the time and trouble you want to make whiskey, and then you use inferior casks. So we use only the best of ingredients as an industry, but especially as a distillery. We use only the best of ingredients, from Scottish malted barley to lots of good Scottish water, and but the casks that we use to mature our whiskey, and we're very proud of them. They're very, very expensive, but we need them. If you don't use these wonderful ingredients, you don't have this. And I think you agree. It's
definitely
it works. It's worth it. It's worth it.
You definitely need to put in the effort to get this wood. So, what do you see with the product range? Will you keep the product range? Will there be any changes or additions, special releases, something like that?
Certainly the core range, fingers crossed for the 18 years old, but the core range will remain very similar. One of the great things about Glendronach is we have some really fantastic older whiskies, and so we can continue with our batch releases. Maybe with some other experimentation, maybe some port finishes, and we also have a peated Glendronach. We have some young peated whiskey on the market just now, and we may look to expand that as well. But Glendronach is renowned for the big sherry influence, so we would look to maybe continue with that. But again, we can maybe use some sherry casks from some different sherry houses. But we like to use Madeira casks also. We feel it complements the sherry. The port finishes I'm really pleased with. I think that's port and Glendronach go very well together. So it'll be just continued experimentation and work and to make sure we can introduce.
So you keep the standard range and do some experiments, some cool bottlings.
Cool bottlings. And at my age, cool is still a good word. Yeah. So,
okay, so nice. Allardyce.
Allardyce, this is 18 years old. We were just discussing, and one of my favourites. I have to say.
So that's named after James Allardyce.
the founder of the distillery and first owner of the distillery, yeah. And again, we like to have something different. Okay, we don't want this to just be an older version of the 15-year-old. So the Allardyce, the 18 years old, is matured only in Oloroso sherry casks. So a much richer, deeper colour and character. The flavours, I think, are intense and almost intensely Glendronach. Big sherry influence, but that fruity character we're talking about in the 15 years old, and a long finish, lots of dark chocolate and winter fruits in here. I'm making you thirsty.
It's just amazing how much of these aromas you can fit into one glass.
Many years ago, before I came to Glendronach, I was always concerned the big sherry influence at Glendronach, and I thought, how it must all be the same. But it isn't. Even the three samples that we're trying today, although a strong sherry influence and strong sherry character, very different flavours and characters in the whiskey. Certainly in the finished whiskey.
Yeah, the thing is with these older whiskies and these, they have so much complexity in it that.
Well, this one in particular.
Yeah. So you can even if you have the same bottle, you can always find something new, and you can just different moods and different places, different temperatures.
Different temperatures, different times of year.
Different amounts of water. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, really, for me in the summertime, I would probably be having a 12 or a 15 years old. But certainly, as Scottish winters go on, as they do, I would certainly look to the stronger flavours. There's almost in this, the 18-year-old, you almost want to hold it with two hands. It's just, it warms your hands as well. It's a fantastic whiskey, and the nose for me is. It's almost deep. It's a deep, it's fruity, sherry character. There's again a slightly almost dark chocolatey, velvety nose.
It's much more velvety and much darker and chocolate and raisin.
Even in the nose.
But it's definitely less
slangy. So really, almost like an intensely chocolate, very much dark chocolate flavour. Zesty again with almost a fruity backdrop, and a long finish.
With the nose, you have less fresh fruit, less of these apricots, more of the dried plums, and definitely in the taste.
But raisins also, but it's a real deep character.
More cacao. Really nice. And how much ABV do we have?
It's 46.
Oh, cool.
We feel, especially with our older whiskies, that the 46 is a good number. It's a number that allows you to still be challenged by the drink. It's not too easy to drink.
Yeah.
You still know you're having a whiskey.
Yeah.
But it's almost relaxing, and compared to say the younger 12-year-olds and so forth.
Yeah, 46 is kind of, you're not burning yourself, but it's not a.
But yeah, we're really pleased with this one.
Oh yeah.
It's actually there's almost so much going on at the finish. It's difficult to describe. It's very complex. A lot going on.
It's you feel the oak, the chocolate.
Yeah.
This is almost going a bit into the direction of blood orange or grapefruit, something like that. The grapefruit is the citric taste is still there, but it's becoming more into that bittersweet and merging with the chocolate and even more cacao.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the longer you can on your tongue, the longer it's on your tongue, the more flavours are appearing.
This is really an amazing dram.
Good.
Well, I like it. Yeah, definitely.
We're very pleased and very proud.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I hope you are, because it's just amazing stuff. So, yeah, again, thank you very much for showing us around the distillery, allowing us to film here, and